Alright, I've actually speed up the whole process of the building, so I'm not going to do much with that. So I'm going to leave it like that. So the next thing I want to do now is let me add some trees. So let's go back into our standard asset here, or we can just type in trees here and look for trees. Oh yeah, that reminds me, we need street light as well. Okay, let's look for the trees first. Okay, I found the trees. I'm just going to drag that straight on board. So where is it again? Let's see. There we go. It's right here. Grab and just dump it there. Let's increase the size of that to maybe about 5 and 5. Okay, that's one tree there. Control D, copy, drag. Control D again, and just make it lively there. Okay, and we'll need some more on the other side. Control D. Let's move it out a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So we have some trees in there, but what I'm going to do is these buildings, there they are, they're in numbers. So let's do one thing. Come in here, but let's go straight into create an empty prefab. That empty prefab, I'm just going to call it buildings, so that we can use it to tidy up the whole development environment, because it seems to be too busy for me now. Drop that in there. We can collapse that. There's more buildings hanging around. Drag, drop. And we seems to be having the same problem with the trees. So I'm going to come in here, create another empty prefab. I mean empty game objects. Just type in trees there. And grab the trees and just drag, drop. There. Okay, so what else do we need to tidy up? Yeah, for now that's a bit okay. Alright, so I just need to add in more trees, and I'll get back to you guys once that is done. Okay guys, I have all my trees in place. This is how it all looks like for now, though you might not be able to see it properly, but if we run the program you'll be able to see it. But before you can see it properly, we're going to need to write 1 or 2 lines of codes. So first thing first, let me change this one to one single column, and just tidy up this one as well. Select all of these trees and just bang them right inside my folder. Drag, drop there, and let's minimize that. Right, now we come right in here. Okay, right in here I'm going to create a folder called scripts. So let's select folder and I'll just call that scripts. There we go. That's my script folder. Make sure the script folder is selected. Go back to create and let's select C#, and that is, I'm going to call that camera controller. There we go. That's my camera controller created. I might as well just create another one since I'm here. I'm going to come straight here and just call that breaker box. Now come right in there, select that, call that break boxes. Yeah. Now let's select the camera controller. Double click, or you can just select the camera controller and click on open to open up the C#. Okay, that's C# programming environment ready. So but one thing first, I'm going to get rid of this, get rid of that function and the comments, and this is the one I intend to use, but I will change this method or function to late updates because it's going to be for my camera. But before we do anything, to avoid any error, create a public game object here. So right there, let's say public game object, and this game object I'm going to call it car, because I intend to make sure the camera follows the car. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create another private void. No, it's not private void, it's going to be private vector tree, and this one is going to, let's say, offset is going to be new vector tree, and this new vector tree is going to take in 3 arguments. So the first thing is going to be the first argument. I'm going to call that -20. That is going to be my x-axis. Now for my y-axis, I'm going to make that about 5. For z-axis, let's say -30. So those are my 3 arguments. They might be wrong, but this one is supposed to be comma. They might be wrong. We can always adjust it once the car is on the move. Now, the next thing I want to do is to use the method transform. Let's get this transform.position, that is supposed to be the exact position of the car, equals car dot transform position plus offset. So transform position plus offset plus my offset. There, enter, semicolon. That's it. That's just the single line of code that I intend to write for my camera. Okay, so I will need to add the car, add the car straight in there, just one car that will follow that. So I'm going to have to save that. Now let's go back to Unity. Now inside my development environment, the camera is written, so I now need to add this very folder, or sorry, this very script straight onto the main camera. There we go. Select the main camera and come right down, and that is the car. But I'd have to be sure which of the cars I'm talking of. I want the car that will head straight to the city. That is the car that I need, the one that will head straight to the city. Okay, let me try this. If this does not head straight to the city, then I'm gonna have to change it. Okay, that's car number 1. So let's select this and just drag in car number 1 straight in here. So car 1, drag and drop it in there. So that should take care of that. Now let's come back in here inside our script. I'm going to add some boxes here that will be broken. So let's select open, and right in there, might as well get rid of all of these. Yeah, let's get rid of those. And I need a public game object. So public game object, come in here, paste that in there, and I'm just going to call that game object. And this game object, I'm just going to give it a nickname, call it breaker box. Copy that, paste that in there, semicolon. And right here, I'm going to change this to, that's just my public game object. So I'm going to change this, let's say break box. Right, that's fine. Now, this one, I'm going to change this one to private. Yeah, let's say private void on collision state. That is an event on collision state collision. Where is it? Collision and collision. So right in here, I'm going to say instantiate right there. Instantiate open up a bracket, and what are we instantiating? We're instantiating this, broke a box, comma, and also transform dot position, comma, transform, let's make that dot rotate or rotation. Now I want this destroyed, so let's say the object, let's get rid of the object, destroy object or destroy game object, game object. So this will go straight on the boxes, though the boxes are not on the scene yet. There, that's just the 2 simple lines of code I intend to use for that. So I'm going to save that as well. Let's make sure the camera is saved, and let's come right here inside the game itself. So right inside the game, we need to go to our Western Pro Pack, click and drop, open it up. I'm going to go straight down, and right here inside the model, come right down again. I need wooden crack, click and open. Inside the wooden crack, what I need is this very one, these 2, I need them both. So let's do one thing. Okay, move this a little bit back and just add this very one, wooden crack, add it right here. That wooden crack, maybe change this one to maybe 0.02, 0.02 there. Okay, that might be too big, but let's see. And I also need to change the material on it. Let it looks like a wood. Yeah, that's the material. Or let's go for the texture. Texture. Okay, let's see material. Let's drag that, drop it in there. Yeah, material is alright. Okay, now this very one, we need to add a rigid body to it. So let's add a rigid body. Where is that? Rigid body. So type in rigid there. Rigid body added. Okay, with the rigid body added, I'm going to select, okay, the use gravity is selected, it's schematic. I'm going to select that as well. Let's click on that, and let's come right down here to the add components. So maybe collapse it so that you can see add component. There, click on it, and I'm now going to add box collider. Let's click on that. Box collider is now added. With the box collider added, let's see what else should I. Okay, I'm going to also add mesh collider. There. Now that mesh collider is added, I will now make sure it's checked, and that is all here. Now there's one more thing I need to add. I need to add the broken crate. So come right hand down here. You see where we have the wooden crate? You will get this prefab inside in a devasset.com. That's where you get this very prefab. Okay, so let's come right down here. You see this is the wooden crate. The wooden crate cracked. Select that and just drop it in here. It's called cracked because it's into pieces. Now the size, let's look at the size of my just wooden crate is 0.02, and this very one, the cracked one, is 1. So I'm going to change that to 2, 2, and 2. Now I'm going to add the following. I'm just going to add I'm going to need a mesh collider on rigid body. But the thing is, because this thing is cracked, let's add mesh collider. Add a mesh collider in there, and this mesh collider, I'm just going to make it. You see where we have convex? I'm going to check that. There. Okay, you see this very wooden crate cracked. If I click on the drop down here, you will see we have approximately how many pieces? 20 pieces of it in there. So let's increase. Let me just zoom out so that you guys can see it. Look at that. Okay, so I'm now going to come in here. Let's select each individual pieces. Okay, this one does not have the, like I've just added mesh collider, but if you look here, there's no mesh collider in there. So I'm going to add mesh collider. Let's see if I can select it all and just add a mesh collider. Select it all, click on that, and let's add mesh collider. Hopefully I must have added mesh collider to it all. You see that, but I was meant to select the convex, so I'm going to select it all again and just select convex there. So that is it taken care of. So each pieces I've added mesh collider and check the convex. Now I also need to add rigid body, so select it all, come straight to the add component, and let's add a rigid body. There we go. I've added a rigid body. So I want to drop this rigid body down. Let's see, let's come right down here, and for the rigid body I think that will be fine. The setting is fine. I'm going to leave the setting alone. So the whole idea is when a car is coming, if you do not get out of the way, you collapse, you collide on these boxes, it will automatically change to this, and the pieces of these boxes will be everywhere. Just to prove to you that each boxes are in pieces. Look at that. That's 9. That is 3, 13. Okay, they're all into pieces, and you can even move them away. Look, that's 1 there. That's number 15. I'm going to undo that there. So you see this very one now. I'm going to change the color, or maybe just leave it there. But if you want to change the color, let's see if we select it all. Will I be able to change the color in one go? I might not be able to do that, so that means I'm going to have to select each individually to change the color. Okay, all right. So now that that is taken care of, okay, we now need to convert this very one. We need to convert it into what is known as prefab. Okay, prefab, which means we can reuse it over and over again. So I'm going to collapse all of these. Now you see this wooden crate crack. Drag it and drop it right inside the asset there. And I'm going to now select. You see in this dialog box is asking you, would you like to create a new original prefab? I'm going to say original prefab. There we go. My original prefab is officially created for me now. I can now come in here and just delete this. I don't need it anymore. Right click and delete. There, it is gone. Okay, you see the very first one that is not cracked. I will now create duplicate of that. Right click, duplicate, and just maybe drag it over there. So I can create as many duplicates as I want. Okay, create another duplicate of that. There. And another one. So if the car dare mistakenly drive into any of these crates, what will happen is it will just shatter. So that's the whole idea. Create one more. Duplicate, drag. Okay, we kind of like move it out of the way, so it's left for the driver to kind of like move out of the way of the crate. Now that that is done, okay, one thing I was meant to do is select. I was meant to select. I should have done that for the very main one. That is the main crate. If you come down, remember I did add the code. Breaker box was added to this very one here. Okay, so if we come right down here, let's select it. We should be able to see breaker box. That's it, break box. Okay, oh, I've only added it to one. Alright then, I might as well just add it to all of these. Select it all and just drag break a box straight in there. Alright, maybe we'll do it individually. I should have do it just for one and copy it to the others. Well, that's no problem. They all have break a box now. Okay, breaker box is there for each of them. Now we now need to know which box would you like me to break. So when we select it, we want to be able to identify the box we want you to break. The box we want you to break is this very one. If you guys can still recall my wooden crate crack, click, drag and drop it right inside break a box there. So I'm going to just repeat the same thing for the others, and that'll be all. Click, drag, drop. Okay, and this very one, drag and drop. Number 4, come in here, drag. Let's do that again, and drop. There we go. Every single box now have the variable breaker box in there. So that is that taken care of. I think that'll be all. So let's save my project. I should have saved that earlier on, but that's okay. So I'm just going to call it mini bridge. Right, save. There. Now let's run it and see how that looks like. It's a little bit noisy, so I'm going to run it and let's see. You see that? Now we're heading towards the city. There we go. Unfortunately, we can't see the car properly, so I'm going to have to reset that. Okay guys, let's try it out. That is the car, but we need to make sure the camera can see everywhere. So I'm going to end it. Okay, I'm going to change the setting of this camera. So let's say we have about 20. I'm going to change that so that we can see the whole system. I'm going to change it to about 10 here, and let's make this minus 15. Okay, x-axis 10, y is 5, and the z-axis is 15. So let's save that and run the program again. Minimize that. Now run the game. There we go. That is the camera. The car seems to be very noisy, but that's okay. So we now run the program. So it's left for the driver to look at that. There we go. The crate is cracked. Oh dear. Where did you get your driving license from? Well, we're heading straight to the city. Whoa, oh. Let's see. Now let's head back straight to the city. Alright guys, I'm going to stop it right there so that we can add the boats and the street light, and that will be all. So let's stop the program for now, and I'm going to come right here. All of these boats, you should be able to find them on Unity. That's the fisherman's boat, so let's grab one of those and just dump it on board. And that is the boat right there. Grab and dump it right there. And I'm going to increase the size of that boat, make it maybe 5. And I will now come right here. You see this very one, USSC. Okay, I'm going to drop that down. You should be able to get that as well on it's right there on the asset store. I'm going to grab one of these, just drop it there, and just add the boat everywhere, and maybe about 6 or 7 of those somewhere. Let's grab one more fisherman's boat. There. So I would arrange those properly. Let's go for 7, 7, and 7. Now, Streetlights. Come right down here. So it's either you use the Victorian Streetlight or the Streetlight Pro. Let's see the Streetlight Pro. Yeah. The Streetlight Pro. Okay, I'm going to settle for this. Just grab that. And I need the wall. I need to know where the wall is. That's the wall right there. Okay, grab the Streetlight Pro. Yeah, just grab that and drop it right here. So increase that to about 10 by 10 by 10. That might be too much. So maybe 7 and 7. Okay. Alright. So that's the street light. Hold on to your control and maybe just reduce this as well. So maybe about 7. Yeah. Hold on to the control D, and just copy. Yeah. I'm going to select both. Control G again. Let's copy it across. There. And I'll just take care of that and get back to you guys. Okay, now we have all the boards and the street light in place. I'm going to now try out the game. And right there, guys, that is how it's looking now. You can see the street light, the boat, and it looks very beautiful. I bet you guys can have a go at something like this. So as you can see, the car will hit the crate and smash the crate. The car move forward towards the city. So with that, guys, I'm going to call it the end of this tutorial. I suppose you guys enjoyed. Please do subscribe to my channel, and you can also join to become a member. You all have a nice day now, and bye for now.